All right. What's up, viewers, subscribers, and agents alike? It's your boy Enlightened Luciferian Prince coming at y'all once again. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank y'all for showing up. Thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for viewing my content. Thank y'all. It is what it is. And I appreciate y'all for being here, all my viewers and subscribers for watching my content. I know I haven't uploaded in a few days. Sometimes it's important to give yourself just a little bit of a break. Can't take life too seriously, people, because one thing for sure and two things for certain. When you're upon this journey, you're upon this path of knowledge, this insight, this stuff is eternal. I'm serious. It's like I've been on this path for about 15 years. And to be honest with you, it literally is like you learn something new every day. And that's the beautiful part about it, is that when you actually learn something new and you can actually, materialize it for the betterment of your future, no better result you could ever have. But before I proceed, if you're watching this video around children, please remove them from your immediate vicinity, as my videos are not for children. Also to mention, this does not constitute anything anti-government, nor does it constitute anything of legal advice. The sole purpose of this video is for informational and educational purposes only. If indeed you are in a legal situation and you do need an attorney, by all means, that is your choice as a competent adult, because my videos are not for children, this is for adults. If you are in that trouble, go consult an attorney on your own behest. You pay your fiat, secure their services. Other than that, on my channel, I'm just a man who loves to read. Now, I know when I did the video on by whose authority, you have to understand that that was just the tip of the iceberg. And the tip of the iceberg being mainly by whose authority. A lot of people do not understand this. When I say this, as complex as many people have made it seem, as many legal treatises have been written on this subject, as many conversations and as much sophistry has surrounded this ideology, I'm going to be the one to tell you in the plainest way I know how. And that's just being upfront and truthful as is. Because in commerce, truth is sovereign. Okay? Let's start there. So we say by whose authority? We must understand, people, that irrespective of a governmental position or anybody that's in an authority position, in a Republican form of government, i.e. what we call the United States, the Republic, that is, this form of government can never cease to exist, i.e. the people. The problem with the people is that the people are unawares that they are placing these individuals in positions of representative government. What does that mean, people? You're saying in but so many words, I am government, but I am going to give up my powers, inherently and inalienable powers, over to representative government, which in reality is nothing more than an LLC, a limited liability corporation. What you do not understand is that by you saying that you particularly wish for someone to represent you in government, you are ceding your sovereignty. In other words, you must go to the words of the document itself. We derive our powers from the consent of the governed. We derive our just powers by the consent of the governed. Understand what that means, people. You are giving them the authority. You are giving them the ability to act in your own worst interest. Why? Because representative government in a corporation is not governance at all. It's nothing more than regulation. And since you don't understand your capacity as a natural person, then you must understand that what's written in their laws, as far as person is concerned, it is not you. Now, before you have the naysayers come today, tomorrow, or the year after this, or the years after, and always say that what I'm saying isn't true, because they're always going to put that argument up, I challenge all of my subscribers and viewers, get a Black's Law Dictionary, okay? See, we're gonna start there. And look up natural person. Look up consent, and then look up person. Don't take my word for it. Look it up yourself. You'll see that natural person is who is on this video right now. What other people will try to misconstrue and confuse is that we know the strawman is nothing more than a transmitting utility. Look it up in Black's Law Dictionary. It's a transmitting utility. The commercial world can only interact with that entity. It is a lesser known trust. Sets to KV trust, right? 1666, all things were corrupted in law, in English positive law. It became law strictly for admiralty and commerce, but underneath the guise of purporting itself in regards to common law, and it wasn't. It was never really publicly pushed into the public realm and spectrum until 1938, when they said, enough's enough. It is what it is. It's contracts now, baby. But prior to 1938, there were actually judicial courts. They are no longer that, people. So whenever you're going to court nowadays, it is only by your authority and your consent that you're actually prosecuted. You didn't even know this shit, people, but you know now. Because you have to realize in the respective realm of law, and this is for the naysayers who got something to say, presumption. Look it up in Black's Law Dictionary. You are automatically presumed. That is, in other words, it's a fancy way in law to say basically we have already determined before you even had the ability to determine it yourself. We already looked at you as a corporation. And we're going to do business with you as a corporation. But there's a problem. We need the natural man or the natural woman to do what those ends legis corporations always do. Don't say anything. So when they turn around and give you an attorney, that is nothing more than your muzzle in a legal perspective. That is the individual. He or she, irrespective of nationality, color, creed, origin, or anything, they do not have your best interest at heart. They don't. If you read Corpus Juris Secundum, attorney versus client, if you've been watching my videos for this long, you see that I've said it multiple times on my channel. Attorney's first duty is to the court, not the client. Okay? It says it that way. I don't care how much you pay those people. I don't care how many times you call them. I don't care how many times you try to entertain their cause. They work for Britain. Period. Before you hire an attorney, this is for future reference for anybody who knows what I'm saying is true. Ask any so-called attorney, lawyer, counselor, or esquire. Ask any of them, do they have a bar card? They're going to tell you yes, if they're an attorney. Now, here's the kicker. An attorney and a lawyer are not the same. I said this in a previous video, but don't take my word for it. Black's Law Dictionary should help you find that out. Now, if these individuals have a bar card and a bar number, congratulations, you have the answer to your question. They work for Great Britain. Okay? Excuse me. They work for Great Britain. It's a fundamental fact. British accredited regency. Some people say registry, it's regency. But registry, regency, one and the same. It basically lets you know that their allegiance is to something that doesn't have anything to do with the United States. Period. Just know that. And the so-called judge is acting on behalf of the Vatican Bank. Those who have done their studies know exactly what I'm saying, because your Sestic KV trust is nothing more than a lesser Roman trust. Period. And then the reality is it all goes back to the birth certificate odyssey, and the idea of the fact of the matter is that these people from the time of your birth declared you with no rights to nothing. So whenever we talk about the word slavery, everybody gets tangled up with this idea. The first thing that we think of in slavery in the Western world is somebody in some fucking chains that looks like a person colored as myself, copper colored in some chains. And no, this has far superseded that, people. This has far superseded that. For anyone who actually does their due diligence and research, this shit has been going on for thousands of years. See, when you have to look at the scripture for what it's worth, when you read in the scripture, it says that the messianic figure Yeshua, at the time, people had to be counted for census. We still do census in the United States every 10 years. So something that happened 2,700 years ago, still arguable depending on what calendar you use, it's been happening since. Pledging is an ancient system. This is how they fund the governments. This shit is not new. It may be new to many people today, or even in the YouTube sense, or in the social media, Instagram, TikTok sense. But this is old, people. This is old, from times immemorial. We're still using codes that are on the books for people who ruled thousands of years ago, are still abiding by them to this day. Y'all think those writs and those motions and all that stuff that you file in the courts is new? No, people. This is why I tell you, you must do your research. This is old. So by the time you were born, you were declared to have no rights. You didn't know this, though. When you were a child, you did what we were all told to do. Do this, fill this out, put it on this piece of paper, whoop, whoop, whoop. Never taking into consideration whose benefit is this for. We were proposed, as all people have been, that yes, this is for your good. Paying taxes is for your good. Going to school is for your good. Working all the way till you're 65 is for your good. All these things you've been robbed of because you had no knowledge of why the fuck they were even telling you to do this in the first place. Now let's fast forward. If you're my age, I'm 36 years young. You would have already known that none of that shit worked. And for you younger people who are taking the opportunity to actually view this content and to view others such as myself, because I'm not the only one on the internet. I've just been doing it longer than most of them. Most of them probably started a couple years ago, got more followers, but monetization purposes aside, it is what it is. Y'all are taking it upon yourselves to not repeat the same mistakes. See? Because my parents, rest in peace to both of them, they're past. They're gone. Can I blame them, though? Absolutely not. Because I learned this before they left. So it's one of those situations where I'm telling the younger generation, I don't care how many no's you hear when you ask for, you prosecute this for yourself. I don't care how many no's you hear, how many you're wrong, how many times people try to call you out your name, you're a sovereign citizen and you one of them people. Let them call you that. Because one thing I will tell you, at least they know you're not fucking stupid. At least they know you're not stupid. When you can actually legally define what a right is as opposed to a regulation, there's no argument there with them people. You're speaking a language that they don't know. How you gonna call yourself law enforcement and you don't even know law? How you gonna call yourself a lawyer and you don't even know law? You know procedure. How you gonna call yourself a judge and you don't even know the highest ruling authority in this country? It's supposed to be the supremacy clause of the 6th Amendment of the Constitution that you swore to uphold. But obviously, y'all forgot this shit. Y'all have turned the courtroom into nothing more than a fucking revenue base. It is not for justice anymore. It's not for none of that. And it's the problem with the people because we have let it get to that point. because we just choicefully remain to stay ignorant. Going back to that word presumption, it all started when you were born. You were already appointed a guardian who could take care of you. Oh, we believed it was our parents. But no, once our parents gave that information up to the system, they weren't our parents anymore. They became our custodian. Black's Law Dictionary has all these definitions in there. Don't take my word for it. They became our custodian. Part-time caretaker. Look up parents patriae. It's all in the law. All based on presumption. But let's cook. The presumption of public service is that all members of the private bar guild, i.e. lawyers, who have sworn a solemn, secret, absolute oath to their guild, then act as public agents of the government or public officials by making additional oaths of public office that open and deliberately contradict their private superior oaths of their own guild. Unless openly rebuked and rejected, the claim stands that these private bar guild members are legitimate public servants and therefore trustees under public oath. Now, they just showed you something, not me. They just showed you something that basically, if you don't challenge their standing in law, this is the thing that a lot of people won't tell y'all that come on other channels and be like, oh, well, you could challenge jurisdiction. No. Y'all always talk about status correction and your standing. No. You don't have to question your standing in law, people. As a sovereign individual, a natural-born flesh and blood man and woman, you don't have to question your standing in law. You rebut the presumptions against you, but you don't question your standing in law. Your job is to question theirs. But hey, this does not constitute legal advice. The sole information is for educational purposes only. As again, unless openly rebuked and rejected, the claim stands that these private bar guild members are legitimate public servants and therefore trustees under their public oath. And the possibility of this matter being a private matter is rebutted. All persons engaged in the matter at hand are deemed to be in public service as public servants. So unless you challenge their standing, they're going to go along the guise that you don't know shit, and this is a private public affair. But now you know. See, now that you know, ain't no excuses no more. Now, if you don't want to know any further, just stop this video and just go back to NPC land. If you don't want to know no better, if you want to stay willfully and blissfully ignorant, this ain't for you. But if you're still here, like and subscribe. Let's go. The presumption of public oath. Now remember, the presumption of public oath is that all members of the private bar guild acting in the capacity of public officials who have sworn a solemn public oath remain bound by that oath and therefore bound to serve honestly, impartially, and fairly as dictated by their public oath. Unless openly challenged and demanded, the presumption stands that the private bar guild members have functioned under their public oath and in contradiction to their guild oath. If challenged, such individuals must rescue themselves as having a conflict of interest and cannot possibly stand under a public oath. I'm not going to say what needs to be done, but if you have ears to hear, you'll understand exactly what I just read. The possibility of this is rebutted, and all public servants acting on behalf of this matter are required to state all sworn oaths, both public and private. So, does this exempt the so-called judge? No. 99.9% of them before taking that bench were lawyers too. There's that small 0.001% that isn't, and that's very rare. But majority of people who sit on the bench, from my experience of dealing with the system personally years ago when I dealt with that disfranchising ass bullshit, they were prosecutors, i.e. district attorneys. So anyone who doubts what I'm saying, this is their society. Y'all have been duped into believing that it's this. Judges are elected. They're not qualified. They're elected. You don't believe me? As an independent elector myself, all judges and superior courts and whatever magistrates, the people elect them. Whether or not they even know who the hell these people are, they still elect them. Does it say that they're qualified? They just pick them. Again, by their what? Consent. So many people, and to show you how deep the rabbit hole really goes, can't even be mad after certain offenses and going to court. The people that you elect send you to jail. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Because again, election and qualification are not the same, people. See, I can show you even in the Constitution where they say that they shall hold office as long as it's in good behavior. It didn't say shit about qualification. It said good behavior. And what is good behavior in legalese? Good behavior in legalese is keeping order in the court, keeping the game rolling. Y'all don't hear me though. It's written in all these documents. This is no conspiracy or nothing. This shit is written. You can look up any legal treatise. You can look up the Constitution itself and go to anything else I'm saying. Oh yeah, and make sure you have a Black's Law Dictionary on hand just in case you don't understand, because the Constitution is a legal document. Anywho, the possibility of this rebutted and all public servants acting on behalf of this matter are required to state all sworn oaths, both public and private. Both. So they have two oaths. Y'all keep asking for the oath of office. That's where you keep fucking up at. Because they don't got no problem giving you that. Even if they do kind of deny it, you still aren't going the right direction you need to go with asking that question. Talk about that private oath. The guild oath. Yeah. You're welcome. But anyway, the presumption of immunity is that key members of private bar guild in the capacity of public officials, LLCs, acting as judges, prosecutors, and magistrates who have sworn a solemn public oath in good faith, are immune from personal claims of injury and liability. Unless openly challenged in their oath demanded, the presumption stands that members of the private bar guild as public trustees acting as judges, prosecutors, and magistrates are immune from any personal accountability for their actions. Now you know why immunity exists. Now I know a lot of people, because they believe that the system is, oh, they're going to just do whatever they want for those people and so forth, and we have no remedy. You keep believing that shit, you're going to find out how lost and deregulated you really are. But in reality, you have to request the private oath. They can't say they don't have it, because in order for them to say that they don't have it, then that means that they shouldn't even be an attorney in the first place. So somebody's got to be lying. This is absolutely rebutted. Any person acting as an agent for the nameless, faceless corporation is wholly personal and responsible for their actions on behalf of the corporation. All actions incurring a degree of injury will incur notice of injury, including severe financial penalty. 15 United States Code 1 and 2. Look it up. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. It tells you what the injuries are if it's a person or a corporation. I believe 100 million if it's a corporation. I believe 1 million if it's an individual. This is according to the law. Not me. Look it up. Simple as that. And now I know people be like, oh, they'll drop the suit and blah, blah, blah. Not if you file it according to the actual prosecutorial code, people. If you just sit there and say 100 million just on the strength with a baseless claim, not pursuant to United States Code 15, subsection 1 and 2, then guess what? Congratulations, you fucked yourself. You shot yourself in the foot. That's your fault. But again, look it up and do your due diligence before applying anything I say. Simple as that. The presumption of summons is that by custom of summons unrebutted stands, and therefore one who attends court is presumed to accept a position as a defendant, a juror, or a witness in jurisdiction of the court. Attendance to court is usually invitation by summons, unless the summons is rejected and returned with a copy of the rejection filed prior to choosing to visit or attend. Jurisdiction and position as the accused in existence of guilt still stands. This presumption is absolutely rebutted on this occasion, on past occasions, and all future occasions. However, at no time are we absent nor silent with regard to the matters at hand. What is that saying, people? If you've been watching me for quite some time, for some of you who have, some of you who have not, when I was talking about rebutting the presumption, you can't be two places at one time. What I tell people I've done myself in order to rebut any pretended jurisdiction is specific negative averment. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 9A. I said it on multiple occasions. Specific negative averment, according to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 9A, asserts the individual's capacity in which to sue and to be sued. The reason why they do not want people, such as myself and others, inter alia, to practice these methods is because when we learn the law has no effect over us. Unless, of course, we harm a person or their property. But this, in the instance I'm speaking of, is victimless crime. Now, I know that sounds retarded, but it doesn't if you've been watching my videos for quite some time. I remember, even in the previous video, I'm confused. How is an infraction in criminal jurisdiction? Don't believe me? Listen to her response. Simple as that. This is in the video, Fraud Upon the Court. She said, I don't know. So if this is a court official telling me, an individual outside of court and court business, a live natural person that she doesn't know, wouldn't that be a great fucking question to ask when you actually go into court and offend some of these egregious ass claims? I think so. Because that will probably be the same answer that I would get from the court personnel. But if I go in there with my eyes wide shut, like the average human being goes in and waltzes right up in there and believes that they're actually here for a traffic citation, it can't be that important, not knowing that they're actually in fucking criminal jurisdiction. You're in the wrong court. But because of your ignorance and because you don't know this stuff, they get away with it. It's somebody in court right now going through that shit right now. It's somebody getting sent to jail right now. It's somebody in the courtroom right now scraping up all the money they can get to keep their ass out of penalization. You cannot be penalized for a victimless crime. And I know that sounds retarded, but it's not when you actually look at the judiciary, venues, crimes that aren't really even crimes because no harm was done to a person or their property. And I proved this already. And I don't have to say the shit again. Let us go further. The presumption of custody is that by custom or summons a warrant for arrest unrebutted stands, and therefore one who attends court is presumed to be a thing, and therefore liable to be detained in custody by custodians, i.e. sheriffs, bailiffs, you name it. Custodians may only lawfully hold custody of property and things. But legally, it can hold the thing legally because it's a legal thing. So now it can take the legal thing and put the little thing in safekeeping, which is your ass. Not flesh and blood, soul possessing beings, unless this presumption is openly challenged by rejection of summons and or at court, the presumption stands you are a thing and property and therefore lawfully able to be kept in custody by custodians. Now, I know a lot of people said this too. Well, Whenever I try to say something, they'll hold me in contempt. Look up the definition of contempt and make sure anytime you defend yourself in court, objection. You must object, because if you don't object, they're going to presume against you. Never ask for permission to speak in a court. When you do that, you are tacitly submitting to the jurisdiction of the court, saying permission to speak. No, you let the other party speak. Once you know that they're done making their statement, then you talk. Don't ever ask for permission to speak, because only things that are underneath jurisdiction and governance need permission to speak. But don't take my word for it. Look up the word res in Black's Law Dictionary. That's what you are considered. That's why they give you an attorney, because dead things don't speak. At your birth, you were considered civilly dead. So you can't be dead and alive at the same time because of the legal presumption at birth. No rights, no ability, no representation, no nothing. So you are considered a landless pauper. This is fucking facts. You are considered, not saying realistically, this is just all consideration. Many people walk around calling themselves poor. Poor by whose standard? Because last time I checked, every time a motherfucker come around to a person that's poor, why would you come to somebody that's poor for remedy? Why would you send somebody that's poor a statement or some type of bill for a couple $1,000s? If somebody was so poor, why could you take property from them? I'll tell you why. Because mentally you're fucking poor. Because they know that you don't know how they execute, so they take what you have. People getting pulled over, getting their cars towed, going to jail. You done already had loss of property before you even had due process. The fuck? But because of the fear and intimidation of the legal system that has worked for generations amongst people, unquestioned, this is how it works, because people have lost their station. America, as its inception, was always, prior to 1776, was always a nation governed on sovereignty and self-governance. This occupying authority that came over here via charter in 1492 was not our original endeavor. That was some shit that they conspired to put together. But do your research. Don't take my word for it. Don't want to ruin all the fun. This presumption absolutely rebutted. We are alive and well. We are not things. We are not in custody by custodians or guardians. We are not a thing. We are not property of the Roman court or the Roman Empire. Under no circumstances will we be detained in any way whatsoever, nor at any time, past, present, or future. Now, the key is don't harm a person or their property. You'll never have to worry about that. Again, don't harm a person or their property. Live peacefully. Live righteously according to the divine natural law. See, man's law is nothing more than, as we can see from now, it's nothing more to bring revenue to his or her cause. That is it. No, you elicit justice as you deem fit. Live peacefully, but just understand, you have the right to defend yourself. You have the right to govern yourself. You have all of those rights. You give them up when you want someone else to do it for you. You can't expect someone else to actually have your best interest at heart. That's ludicrous. The presumption of court or guardians is a presumption that as you may be listed as a resident of a ward or a local government area and have listed on your passport the letter P, you are a pauper and therefore under the guardian powers of the government and its agents as the court of guardians. Unless this presumption is openly challenged to demonstrate you are both a general guardian and a general executor of the matter trust. Before the court, the presumption stands and you are by default a pauper, a lunatic, and therefore must obey the rules of the clerk of guardians, the clerk of magistrate courts. We are at all times the general executor and general guardian of all our matters, including those currently under discussion, and are a result of a system of deadism employed by a private banking system and upheld by a private bar guild. I just told you the three-tier enemy to your existence. Simple. Called you a lunatic, a pauper, a ward, and in need of a guardian. Do you understand that in law they look at you as if you're fucking stupid people? Off the note of the literature. Hold on, I'm going to finish. Pause. Putting the cart before the horse. Let me chill. The presumption of Court of Trustees is that members of the private bar guild presume you accept the office of trustee as a public servant and a government employee just by attending the Roman court. As such, courts are always for public trustees by the rules of the guild and the Roman system, unless this presumption is openly challenged to state you are merely visiting by invitation. To clear up the matter, and that you are not a government employee or public trustee, in this instance, the presumption stands and is assumed as one of the most significant reasons to claim jurisdiction, simply because you appeared. And absolutely no jurisdiction at any time may be claimed by the private bar guild over us. The office of trustee is rejected. The role of public servant and government employee is rejected. However, the need for each of us to contribute to the well-being of community is acknowledged and graciously embraced. So, people, with that being said, you must understand, particularly, your position in law. By whose authority? This is part 2. Explain simply yours. Unless you rebut and stand up for who you are and who you aren't, they're going to roll over you. They're going to roll over you. All to get you the contract. Once they get the contract, the clerk, the judge, and the private bar guild all get paid. You go to jail. You get robbed for your security interests under the scheme of the law merchant, deprived of life, liberty, and property. Well, that was the intent from the beginning of the day one you were here on earth. But it just perpetuates it even further. And for the people y'all think are higher in society or get better so-called treatment and so-called, no, they don't. They're nothing more than slaves themselves. Because what they are is slaves to the actual commerce in which they regulate and engage in. So the more, the merrier for them. Or so they believe so. But in reality, people, I don't think that getting wealthy in 2025 should be many of your main goal. If you're going to get wealthy in anything, I suggest you get wealthy in freedom. That is the biggest flex in 2025 for you right now. If you are still in a position that you know you shouldn't be in, right now, in less than 38 minutes, you should already know what the hell I'm talking about. But in reality, you don't have to take anything I say into consideration. Remember, this is for educational and informational purposes only. I'm here just like any other person that's on the YouTube channel, making content and still doing whatever. I could be sitting here ranting and raving about whatever, irrespective of anything. People are still going to tune in, whether it's the most lackadaisical bullshit ever or it's something of substance. It doesn't matter. Everyone has a different frequency. But if you're on this frequency right now, you're on this channel, just remember, you're the only one who gives authority to anything. No one can do nothing to you but you. Understand how detrimental that really is. Y'all have a problem with social conditioning, and I know where it all starts from. It starts from elementary school. If you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. So that taught you to be silent to when it comes time to be truthful. And this follows you all the way into your adulthood. Tell me I'm lying. You get in court and you shut the fuck up. You see, it's a lot of these people that come on these channels on the internet and they'll talk a good game online. They go in the courtroom, bumble and fumble like they got peanut butter in their fucking throat. And I know I curse a lot and I could use better language, but I choose not to. This is me. Peanut butter in the motherfucking throat. They'll tell y'all all this nice, fancy stuff. Whoop, whoop. And yeah, you go. You don't have to say much in there. Say certain things. Say few key things. Before you know it, they out your fucking face. You could study for years and years and years. All you want. But if you don't understand, overstand, and understand that it all breaks down to getting them to contract with you, to access your SESTA KV trust, protect that shit with your life. Tell them, I do not give authority to nobody here. That's where the jurisdiction starts at. It starts with your ass. But you have to be the one to stand in the position to say, I don't consent. No. Where you're charged with, that's just a presumption. That is not me. That's a presumption. And that's the trick they get you at. Well, you charged with, that is not me. And you can stand by that. When you have all your documentations with you in court, in a court of record. Did you get that? Perhaps a lot of people didn't. But do I tell people, even on my channel, do I help people in legal instances? Yes. If it's a victimless instance, yes. But if it's a victim involved, no. If it's a victim or their property involved, no. But if it's a victimless crime, yes. So let me clear that up for 2025 and any individual who just started viewing my channel. I assist. Private consultation only because it's a lot of stuff that I would say and a lot of stuff I just don't say because the hijackers love to hijack. Instead of doing their own due diligence and going out there reading, studying, research, they'll try to come on other channels and steal information. You sorry sons of bitches. Y'all sorry as hell. You know what I'm saying? And then y'all people who actually view other individuals on these channels, y'all go pay them. You know what I'm saying? I'm being real. Y'all go pay them motherfuckers and y'all could barely even get on the phone with them people. Sad to say, but unfortunately, they're going to get y'all. As it says, hey, I send you out as sheep amongst wolves. So y'all better understand. A lot of these people that try to educate y'all in this certain aspect, and I tell you, before you even try to even embark upon it with certain people, use your spirit of discernment. Use your spirit of discernment to know, I know if this person has my best interest at heart, and I know this person full of shit, you got to be led by a particular divine force to understand that who really has your best interest at heart. Because I can tell you right now, I don't give a fuck how many followers a person got, how much they try to charge or whatever, and I'm going to be the one to say it. If they're not showing you a remedy, you wasted your fucking time. And I'm going to be the one to say it. Because I've been doing this for so long. And every time I turn around, I hear people's stories. Man, stop fucking with them clowns, man. And I'm not saying no name at all. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not no cannibal. I don't eat no flesh. But I'm just saying, this is that man or a spirit I'm talking to. I'm not talking about no particular person. I'm talking about that man or spirit. Y'all got to understand, when y'all dealing with this instance, and a lot of people who've been on this journey for quite some time or whatever, yeah, some of y'all get exhausted. Yeah, some of y'all get tired. Yeah, some of y'all say this don't work because y'all listening to the opposition. That's your fucking problem. Every time something don't go the way that your predisposed mind has been conditioned to believe is supposed to go your way. This is not a go your way type of path, people. This shit is not going to go your way. It's only going to go your way when it becomes public. That's the power in this. The power in this is when it goes public. Yeah, anybody can sit on a fucking computer screen and a camera and shit and say whatever they want. Me, on my channel, this is my life. Some people are just too, and I got to be one to say it, they're just too bitch made for this. I'm going to be the one to say it. This is not for the weak of heart. You are going up against a bunch of motherfuckers who don't want the world to know this shit. I ain't trying to lead no crusade. I just want y'all to leave me the fuck alone. Period. I'm not trying to be no fucking savior, no martyr, no crusader. I don't want to be none of that shit. Every man's salvation, he or she got to work that shit out on their own. As it says in scripture, with fear and trembling. Got to work that shit out on your own. I'm just here to assist you. But you got to do it on your own. For real. And this is the reality behind what we deal with on a day-to-day basis. That's a fact. But again, don't pay attention to anything I say. You can cut this video off and act like I ain't say nothing. Again, this is not considered anything anti-government because I can't be anti-self. As long as I live under the divine law of the Most High and I cause no harm to a person or property, I'm good to go. And that's the way I plan on keeping it. Simple as that. But to each his own. For people who want to contact me, my email is in the video description and the comment section below. This is your life. This is your journey. This is your path. Nobody else is going to do this stuff for you, people. You have to fix your thinking and get yourself together. Again, people, you can reach out to me via email, or you, a loved one, somebody who's near and dear to you is in this fucked up system, victimless crime. Okay, I'm going to emphasize that again. Consult with me and contact me. It is what it is. Because instead of you sitting and waiting for something to change, I'm telling you, once a contract is in play, it's over with. They're going to ride that shit till that contract over. So people who are sitting in jail or so forth and so on, and you're sitting here calling around, that shit don't work. Them people going to answer the phone. They're going to tell you what they want to hear to get you off of that shit. Calling their attorneys is full of shit too. And I know it's a couple of watching my channel and so forth. Y'all full of shit. Y'all might be decent people outside of your so-called profession, but overall, your business-wise, you fucking suck. They're not going to answer you. Writing letters to judges and all that shit ain't going to work. You need paperwork to get to the proper people. And if you need to get to the proper people, then I'm that person to talk to that's going to help you get it to the proper people who are unbiased. There we go. With that being said, consult with me. Emails in the video description. It is what it is. It's time for me to go play Hitman. Peace, light, love. Y'all take care. I'll see y'all soon. The agents, as I've been saying for years, fuck you. 10-4. I'm out. Y'all stay tuned for the next upload.